Loose Ends started in London back in 1980. The group was made up of Steve Nicol, Carl McIntosh, and Jane Eugene. Steve, who was born in London, was already playing in different bands and doing studio work. He met Carl and Jane through other musicians in the local soul and jazz scene. All three were serious about music and wanted to bring something new to the UK sound. In the late 70s and early 80s, the UK had a strong underground soul scene, but most Black British acts had a hard time breaking into the mainstream, so they decided to come together and make their own lane. American R&B dominated the charts, and UK radio rarely gave airtime to the local soul groups. Loose Ends pulled in styles from American funk, British pop, and Caribbean rhythms, new and unique. The group first called themselves Loose End UK releases, but when it came time to break into the US market, Virgin Records partnered with MCA Records for distribution in the United States, thus explaining why, although they were signed to Virgin Records in the UK, Loose Ends albums were released in the United States under MCA Records. When they signed with Virgin Records in 1981, they added the S. The name came from their idea of tying together loose pieces of different sounds, soul, funk, and pop, into something smooth and new. The name fit their style, which blended live instruments with electronic production. Jane's strong lead vocals, Carl's guitar playing and writing, and Steve's keyboard work. Together, they brought a well-rounded mix of talent to the group. In 1984, Loose Ends released their debut album, A Little Spice. The UK version did fairly well, but when the album was reworked and released in the US the next year, things really changed. MCA Records added a new track called Hanging on a String, Contemplating. That single hit number 1 on the Billboard R&B chart in 1985, making Loose Ends the first Black British group to ever top that chart. The album also reached the top 5 on the US R&B albums chart. Loose Ends' mix of soulful vocals, live bass, clean keyboards, and drum machines was new and exciting for American listeners. Later in 1985, Loose Ends released their second album, So Where Are You? The album did even better in the UK, reaching number 13 on the albums chart and going silver. It included songs like Magic Touch and Stay a Little While, Child, which became a fan favorite in the US. While it didn't chart as high in the US, it kept their name strong overseas, which led to more international tours. Their stage shows had tight arrangements and drew strong crowds in cities like New York, Detroit, and Atlanta. Then came the album in 1986 named Zagora. It was their third album, and it became Loose Ends' highest charting release in the United States. The single Slow Down hit number 1 on the Billboard R&B chart. Zagora kept the same polished feel, but leaned more into mid-tempo grooves and romantic lyrics. This album proved that Loose Ends had staying power, and they weren't just a 1 or 2 hit wonder. In 1988, Loose Ends released their fourth album, The Real Chucky Boo. It hit number 16 on the US R&B albums chart. One of the biggest songs from this project was Watching You, which peaked number 2 on the R&B chart. Another standout was You Can't Stop the Rain, a smooth, emotional track that became a favorite among fans and DJs alike. The album was known for its layered production, warm harmonies, and strong lead vocals. But even with the success, things behind the scenes had began to unravel. Jane Eugene and Steve Nicol felt like they didn't have enough control over group decisions. They were frustrated with how management handled things and decided to leave the group after this last album. Carl McIntosh kept the Loose Ends name and brought in 2 new members, Sine Suleiman and Linda Carriere. Sinead came from a background in writing and production, while Linda, who had experience as a vocalist, stepped in to help shape the group's final sound. The group released one more album called Look How Long in 1990. The album included Don't Be a Fool, which reached number 10 on the Billboard R&B chart. The album itself hit number 28 on the US R&B albums chart and number 19 in the UK. The sound was slightly different, more New Jack Swing, more edge, but it still carried the Loose Ends name. This would be the group's final studio album. Carl's vocals were more prominent on this project, and he also took on more production responsibilities. After the final studio album, the group quietly stopped recording. Hanging on a String kept showing up in DJ mixes, compilations, and soul stations. It even ended up on Grand Theft Auto 4 video game soundtrack. Younger artists have sampled Loose Ends, and their albums are often listed among the best British soul records of the decade. In 1998, the original members came back together briefly for a Pete Rock track called Take Your Time, but it wasn't a full reunion. Still, the moment was meaningful for longtime fans who hope they'd one day share the stage again. Today, Loose Ends exists in two versions. Carl McIntosh leads a live band called Loose Ends Experience, and Jane Eugene tours with her own version of the group, Loose Ends featuring Jane Eugene. Steve Nicol has stepped away from the stage but still works in music, focusing on teaching and mentoring younger artists. While the three haven't officially reunited, they've all continued to represent the Loose Ends name in their own way. Although the group never received major music awards, their success on the charts and the loyalty of their listeners speaks volumes. Sometimes the recognition that matters comes from the fans and not the industry. Loose Ends may no longer be recording as a group, but their music is far from forgotten. I still find myself playing their music very often, and I know I am not the only one. Whether it's Slow Down, Watching You, or You Can't Stop the Rain, their songs still get played in rotation constantly on United States radio. The music still brings back memories, and it still sounds just as good as when we heard it the first time. That is the end of this video, and I know you guys like Loose Ends. This is what you guys voted for. You wanted to hear the story of Loose Ends. Did you learn anything new in my biography? Do you have anything to add? Do you have any corrections? Did I get anything wrong? Let me know. I'm always open to positive and constructive criticism because I'm trying to grow this channel, and I can't grow this channel without my audience. I am opening the floor for suggestions or requests. Please do not give me anyone who is outside of the realm of Generation X. I would like to keep it in Generation X, okay? So give me some ideas of people that you want me to talk about, either in shorts or in long form videos, and I will do my best to appease you guys. If you do not see the video in long form, I can promise you I will do a few shorts and your requests will be done. I will do as much as I can. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.